Well, what a difference a day can make. Wall Street was back in full risk-on mode yesterday with record highs, massive tech gains, and one of the most anticipated earnings reports of the year. Hey everyone, it's Wednesday morning, August 5th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we dive in, today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital, Asset Management Frankfurt. Learn more about our funds and strategies at amf-capital.de. All right, let's get started. The big story: stocks surged across the board. The Nasdaq jumped more than 2.6%, while the Standard & Poor's 500 and the Dow Jones both climbed 1.8%, with both indexes finishing at fresh record highs. Earnings were a major reason for the rally. Caterpillar impressed investors after quarterly sales topped $20 billion for the first time ever, highlighting how demand tied to artificial intelligence continues to support industrial companies. Palantir was another standout. The stock soared almost 30% after reporting what its chief executive called an otherworldly quarter. Strong demand from government customers helped fuel another wave of buying across technology and semiconductor stocks, lifting companies like Nvidia, Intel, and Micron. After the closing bell, all eyes turned to SpaceX. In its very first earnings report as a public company, revenue surged 90% from a year ago to $7.8 billion, while losses narrowed dramatically. The company also reported an enormous cash position and a huge order backlog. But despite those impressive numbers, investors focused on continued losses in its artificial intelligence and space businesses, sending the stock lower in after-hours trading. Meanwhile, oil prices moved lower again as hopes grew that diplomatic talks could eventually lead to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Markets also continued watching developments in the Middle East, although headlines remained mixed. And finally, investors are now turning their attention to today's labor market data, with Friday's monthly jobs report expected to be the biggest economic event of the week. All right, that's it for today's Capital Markets Quickie. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and stay in the loop. See you tomorrow morning.